On this fine autumn morning, I stand still under a gentle giant, listening to the birds. As always, my magpie friends have much to say. They enjoy a lively natter as I explore. The flowers of the gentle giants are now fruit, and as they dry, they fall to the ground. And in my imagination, I see the fairies borrowing them to use as caps, cups, and containers. As I drink in the landscape around me, I feel my body sigh, letting go of all of the busyness, worries, and demands of my time and energy. And without anticipation, a wave of peace comes over me. It is here, surrounded by this beauty and richness, that inspiration finds me. Which places inspire you, Wonder Weavers? I'd love you to share with me in the comments below. I'm enjoying a little bit of a rest this week, Wonder Weavers. My workshops have sadly finished. I had a beautiful time creating paper theatres and telling stories with children. As a result of feeling the need to slow down a little bit, I thought I would give you a quick guided tour of my mini theatre. I built a theatre especially for these workshops so that I could tell a story, tell a tale about where I'm living here in South Australia. And since some of you are not only interested in miniatures and dollhouse crafts, but also storytelling and animation, I thought you might be interested in learning how I constructed the theatre. Lately, I have been seeing in my imagination what I call scenes. I'm very audiovisual, and in order to bring these scenes to life, I feel like I'm going to have to build mini sets. So I intend to reutilize the theatre to help me do that. In the meantime, Wonder Weavers, I'd love to hear from you. How are your creative projects going? You might be working on a mini project at the moment, or perhaps you're gardening or doing something else creative. Now let's take a guided tour. My creative adventure began with a box. The structure of a paper theatre can be made using a range of materials including wood and foam board. But since I am a beginner, I decided to use a moving box. And this ended up being economical too. I purchased a tea chest box from my local hardware for just a couple of dollars. As you can see, I cut out one side of the box, and this is the front of the theatre. I also cut the top and bottom of the box and also one other side. When designing the facade of the theatre, I drew inspiration from the Queen's Theatre, which is the oldest standing theatre in mainland Australia. And just like in 19th century theatre, I created balconies, reutilising the cardboard that I'd cut away. I reutilised one of the sides that I'd cut away, and I glued craft sticks to it to create a floor. I then painted the sticks with watered down brown acrylic paint. To help support the paper curtain and backdrops, I cut and affixed 2 dowel rods. After building the basic structure, I added Velcro dots, and these were to hold the various parts of the theatre that I made out of watercolour paper in place. Alternatively, I could have glued the paper to the cardboard, but I decided very early on when designing the theatre that I wanted to be able to reutilise it. To help light the theatre up, I added fairy lights. And following the Victorian tradition, I made puppets, props, and backdrops from paper. While most of my characters are static, I did make one puppet using a dowel rod and beading wire. The story I put together was inspired by South Australia's agricultural heritage. The story's main characters are called Marion and Jimmy, and they live on a farm during the late 19th century. The research process included reading books about South Australia's history. I particularly enjoyed reading first-hand accounts. These stories helped me imagine what it would have been like to grow up in the state during this era. And if you'd like to learn more, I've left some references in the description below. Now that the play is over, I'm storing all of the characters, props, and parts of the theatre in a plastic container. You never know, Jimmy and Mary may want to tell another story in the future. Thank you for taking the guided tour with me, Wonder Weavers. It's really beautiful to be able to share these special experiences and moments with you, and I can't thank you enough for all of your support of my channel. Next week we will return to the dollhouse, but until then, take care, stay well, and don't forget to play. Adios. Ciao.